Welcome, people! Welcome to my global Philatelic project channel. Here we will talk about Philately. That means stamps, or timbre, or seios if you want, or brief market, even francobolli or znaczki. So, let's go. The topic today is Viking in Danish stamps. Vikings are very nice civilization and a lot of stamps in Denmark, and not only celebrate them. So relax, takes time, because today here we will analyze the stamps connected with Vikings. Relax, but now of course, first of all, music. Viking civilization and Viking culture were really extraordinary. They started in Denmark, or anyway, in this area, Denmark, Sweden, more or less. And they enlarged their knowledge in all over the North Atlantic area. We are talking about Iceland, Greenland, and for some years, North America. But there it was problematic to arrive. So great merchants and great explorer, as these stamps shows us. But not only in North Atlantic, because they arrived in Russia, they arrived in Caspian Sea, and even until Baghdad. So you can imagine how great explorer they were. This civilization was characterized also by violence. They start from Denmark, and they attack Great Britain Island, of course Scandinavia, Iceland, Northern Europe, and so on. So they enlarge their dominion in all the North Atlantic. We can see, for example, the Viking civilization in Great Britain in the stamps that I show you in the beginning of this year and that we discuss about because they celebrate the anniversary of the arrival of Viking in Great Britain Island. So this civilization was violent, of course, was aggressive, of course, but they were merchants, and so of course they enlarge their knowledge and the richness and the contact with the people at this period, and the other civilization was a crash from one side, but also a very important possibility to create a market between North and South Europe, for example. But back to the Danish philatelic situation, because we have to check what kind of stamps are dedicated to them. Really, a lot. But we have to talk about some of them, because the time is what we have. So, first of all, we have to talk about the beginning of what we consider the beginning of a Viking civilization. That is the stone of yelling that appears in these stamps in 2003. These stones are really important for the Danish people because they testify, they are two stones, they testify how around 965 the Danish people were unified under the King Harald I of Denmark. So it appeared in a rune alphabet for the first time the name Denmark, and it recognized the King of Denmark. So it's really the beginning of the Danish civilization. These stones declare the Christianization of the King Harald I, and so from this moment on, Danish nation has begun. We have to consider that the main material that the Viking used to create their house, monuments, or something like this was wood. And so, unfortunately, time destroyed this kind of structure. It remained something, but really not so much. As you can see, for example, there are jewelry or coins or other things, but not monument like in Rome, for example, or in Greece, because it was completely different kind of material. For example, we have ships. The old ships that they used is quite typical of the Danish style, of the Viking style, because these are ships really good for the Atlantic waves. That is different than Roman ships or Greece or Egyptian ships. So this characteristic of the line of the tallest of the structure in general is really connected to where they have to use them. You can find it in the different museum that I suggest to visit, because I was there and is really well done, and it's easy to understand because the explanation in English and in Danish are really super clear and complete. So great job made by the historian of Denmark. But not only, because there are places in which they made their village, we can say their town, is not possible to see the house because the time destroyed it, as I told before. But it's evident and it's possible to see the hills that were made to protect the time, like we can see in these stamps. That is a sort of camp in Trelleborg, in which you can see how the city was made. This is not the only one, it's a site protected by UNESCO, and it's not the only one that appear in Denmark. There are some of them in all the country, and is really characteristic of this civilization. The characteristic more, as to say, iconic of this civilization is the boats, as I told before. And it's true that some states around the world made stamps exactly to celebrate this kind of way to navigate along the ocean. And as we can see, there are stamps from Marshall Island, Vietnam, Guyana, and so on. I have to say that from a philatelic point of view, not a lot of nations made stamps about Vikings. It's true, well, of course, the North Atlantic nation in general, they made it, as I told Great Britain, but also Faroe Island or Greenland, or of course Sweden or Baltic country. Okay, that's quite normal, but not so much all around the world. And so the one who made the collection, who made the topic of Vikings, doesn't have a lot of stamps to looking for, but in any case it remained in Denmark connected with the Viking. Well, first of all, the royal family. Royal family in Denmark is one of the oldest in the world, because it starts from this famous Harald I that began the history of Denmark. Other things are in the museum or other in stone along the country. So, thank you very much to follow me in this video again. We will see tomorrow with the last video about Denmark Philately. And well, of course, I wish you the best philatelic day as possible, and see you tomorrow. Ciao ciao!